intuition. When you hear this word, moral intuition, does it ring the bell? What could it really mean? Intuition, some inner voice in you will tell you of morality. Meaning, when you do something wrong, do you have the sense to differentiate between right and wrong? This moral intuition is a faculty related to the second stage of the purification of latifa nafs. When nafs progresses, advances from the first stage to the second stage, and it turns into a regretful soul, nafs lawwama. When you get to this stage in spirituality, you are blessed with moral intuition. What is moral intuition? An inner voice teaches you morality. Nafs lawwama. Lawwama is to do with malama, to be blameworthy. When you do something wrong, does any inner voice in you tell you you shouldn't have done it? This is wrong. Somebody will whisper in your heart, this is wrong. Why did you do that? Who is this talking to you? It's moral intuition. It's the voice of God. In order to obtain this status in spirituality, we go through the process of the purgation of the lower self. If you are brave enough to find flaws with yourself and identify the problem within yourself, and you want to rectify it, you want to correct it, then here you go. We have the knowledge, we have the medicine with the help of which you will have this moral intuition. It's like a smoke alarm. You know, it is important that every single household should have a smoke alarm in the kitchen at least. What will the smoke alarm do? It will detect smoke and it will start to make noise to tell you something is burning, something bad is happening. So this moral intuition is like a, blameworthy alarm. When you do something wrong, you will have this inner tutoring. There is a hidden tutor fixed inside you, which will tell you, this is wrong, don't do it. And this moral intuition, as you go along the Sufi path, will only advance further. In the beginning, when you arrive at the station of regretful soul, and you do something wrong and you regret afterwards and you repent afterwards, as you go along on the Sufi path, you will arrive at a next station of inspired soul, inspired self. You will take the inspiration from God. In the beginning, it was an inner voice. It was only telling you what is right and what is wrong. It wasn't stopping you from doing right. And before that, there was an impulse in you to do wrong. That impulse will always incite you to do wrong. But the moment you are initiated into Sufism, that impulse is removed. A common man who hasn't been initiated into spirituality, no matter what religion he practices, naturally has this impulse, and that impulse incites him to do wrong. Performance of any worship will not take away the impulse from you. No matter how many times you go to a temple every day, no matter how many times you go to a mosque every day or a church every day, but that impulse with the incitement to wrongdoings will never go away from your lower self. The only solution to have that impulse removed is to be initiated into spirituality. The moment divine energy is showcased to your lower self, the lower self is dazzled by the positive sparks of divine energy. And the impulse is removed. And the impulse is replaced by this inner voice, which helps you differentiate between right and wrong, between good and bad. At this moment in time, you only have this inner voice that tells you the difference between right and wrong and good and bad. When you further advance into spirituality, this inner voice is now replaced with direct communication with God. Messages will come upon your lower self as you get close to any bad thing, as you get close to sinning. God will reveal upon you, no, don't do this. Where are you going? What are you doing? I'll be upset if you do this. This is complete, most authentic spiritual deterrent from sinning. There is no other deterrent which will stop you from doing bad things. Your mind is not trustworthy. Sometimes your mind will listen to the needs and necessities of your body. The mind will deceive you. It's okay, once a week is okay. No, it's no problem. I know it's bad, but it's okay. Everybody does it. If you listen to your mind, you will fall entrapped. But when you're a Sufi, and as you advance on the Sufi path, you go through different stations of the lower self, from nafs ammara, which has the impulse, very strong impulse, that will incite you to do bad. Do this. You have this urge. I have to do it. I have to do it. I know it's not good, but everybody's doing it. I have to do it. You have this urge. You know, when you have to go to a toilet, nature's call. You have this urge. You know, even if somebody says, I'll shoot you if you go, and you must piss on the tip. If I tell you, if you pass urine, I will shoot you, honestly, you will not be scared. That impulse is stronger than the urgency of passing urine. The impulse, which is a signature impulse of nafs ammara. This is the accent of nafs ammara, the pulse, the commanding self. It will command you, compel you to do wrong. This impulse. This is why one must purify the lower self before he or she is worthy of Sufism. Because Sufis do not have bad impulses. No desire. The desire may hover around his heart and mind, but no desire is impulsive enough to drag a Sufi into humiliating act of indecency. No desire is impulsive enough. Why? Because through purgation of the self, lower self, he was able to remove the impulse. Once the impulse is gone, you will sigh of comfort. Oh God. I relaxed a bit. I was, you would think, oh my gosh, I feel better now. But I don't know what was wrong with me. My desires would drag me. And they would make me do things that I wouldn't actually want to do. But there was this urge, uncontrollable urge, uncontrollable impulse. That impulse cannot be removed by reading books. That impulse that incites to doing wrong things cannot be removed by going to a temple, by going to Kaaba or Tirath or Banaras or Vatican or Jerusalem. That impulse cannot be removed. The only way the impulse is removed is to embark upon the Sufi path. And with the spiritual help of your Sufi master, that impulse is removed. At the moment the impulse is removed, it is replaced with moral intuition. The impulse that incites you to wrongdoings is removed. This is the charm of spirituality. These are the perks of spirituality. Things are done for you. You get things done. You do not even know what is your need. And it is done for you by your spiritual master. And this is only the threshold of spirituality. Getting the impulse removed. The urge. Sometimes it's really itchy. And you have this urge. Only if the urge is removed, this itchiness will be felt relatively lesser. It is the urge which signifies the itch. When the itch is gone, the problem is half gone. When the impulse is gone, then the impact of temptations will automatically lessen. The impact of temptations will automatically lessen. When we have people who tell us what to do, what is wrong and what is right, they tell us this is wrong, this is right. But what do we do of this impulse that we have inside us? We have put on nice holy clothes, we grow beard, we hold rosaries, we go to temples, we go to mosques. But what about this impulse inside me that pushes me to do wrong? Who will take care of this? People only look at my spiritual attire. People will look at my beard. People will look at my clean clothes and they will think he's a great man. But what about the impulse in that great man? How dirty he may be inside him? Who knows? What if the impulse is getting stronger every day? You will be trapped in false perception of his reality. So this impulse has to be removed before moral intuition is introduced to your lower self to carve your character into a sublime character. And this moral intuition in the first phase will be a very soft, meeky inner voice. Like somebody scared telling you, this is wrong. Right? But as you progress along the Sufi path, the inner voice will become stronger. What you did is wrong? After a few years of tazkiyatun nafs, what you did is wrong? Oh, okay. All right. As you go along the Sufi path, the inner voice, the voice of conscience will get stronger. So strong that one day it will turn into a divine revelation from God. Now you are in the divine protection. Your master, your guru will protect you, will stop you spiritually from doing wrong things. He will stop you spiritually. He will enlighten you about the realities of the things which you may be deceived by. This inner voice. This is moral intuition. There is a judge inside you. When you become a Sufi, there is a judge inside you, appointed in you by God, to tell you what God likes and what He doesn't like, so that you only do what God likes and you do not do what God doesn't like. This is moral intuition.
TV, bringing light, love, and peace in your life.